Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we are on video number 4. This is the Board of County Commissioners meeting today where We Are Perdido's Steve Brentro came and spoke on behalf of the Perdido Incorporation effort. And basically the county commissioners, the 3 guys that were there were Stephen Barry, Robert Bender, and Jeff Burgosh. And they poked holes all through it. It's terrible. It's just smoke and gun bad. But here we go. We're going to continue on. Jeff Burgosh is about to make some points, and we're in. What are we in? We're in the. We're going to have 2 more videos here. Oh, yeah, we're going to have 2 more videos. All right, thanks. Here we go.
Other devil's advocate question. You just stood up there and said there's going to be no additional taxes, but there will be. Are you not going to levy a 10% utility tax? That's your quickest way to revenue that you have to get to in order to tap into the shared revenue.
That's not my decision. That's,
Okay.
I'm doing the research. That would be up to the citizens.
But it is a tool available to them. It's one of the only tools to get to the 10 or 11 million they need to raise to meet the statutory requirement to get there. So to say there's no new taxes, I think one of the first things...
I never said no new taxes. What we're saying is the feasibility study as proposed finds a balanced budget.
But they talk about utility taxes in there, don't they?
Commissioner, Steve, that is what I asked you. Do people want to pay more tax for a higher level of service?
We'll have to see if they want to do that, though.
Well,
Okay. Well, I mean, that's I think at the heart of the issue.
And I guess, you said to me that you would be taking away, you said that you would get the ad valorem, but we wouldn't be doing the service anymore. So what services are those?
The transfer of the state shared revenues and some of those, the way that the feasibility study report states it is that those funds would transfer to the municipality, as would the responsibility for those things. I'd refer.
I mean, I don't know what that.
I don't have it in front of me. I'd have to refer you to the report.
I think that's a pretty big thing that we need to establish on what we're not going to be responsible for, that we're going to then come up with an MOU that says that we're going to handle, or you guys are going to. I mean, I think that's the big question is, what will you guys be handling?
So, and I'm happy to have those discussions. I can also bring our consultant in, and they can sit down with you and help work through some of those issues. The thing that I wanted to really establish today is to make sure that we have contacts with the county that we can work through to see what these interlocal agreements look like, so that we can work with our consultant and start putting things together and plan for the future. And any other discussions about the report itself and what the proposal looks like, we can certainly engage with the consultant.
Steve, it seems to me that these conversations should have been happening 6 months ago. It takes a while to draft one of these and get it through this board, and it sounds like there's still a lot of meat on the bone in terms of exactly what services the new municipality is going to provide and which ones they're not, which ones we're going to shed.
They're detailed in the report.
Yeah, I understand, but
Okay, so he keeps getting asked specific questions that he can't answer. If he can't answer them, who can? It's the specifics really aren't in the report. The specific items that where the revenue comes away from the county and where and what services they represent, it's just tax revenues. It's the shared revenue, shared tax revenues. These guys. And so as soon as they get specific with him, he goes, well, I'm here today just to make contact. And he keeps saying, I refer you to the report. I refer you to the report. Is this guy going to be a politician in Perdido? Is he going to run for office? We got troubles, people. We have got troubles. I'm at 4 minutes on this video. We're going to keep going a little bit. So Jeff makes some more points here.
But here's the thing, they're not detailed in an MOU that this board's going to vote on yet. And that's the key. That's where the discussions
and
should
it
have
would
been
be
happening.
Inappropriate because I'm not a legal entity that can enter into negotiations with the county. And I don't want to put them in a position of negotiating twice.
The legislative session starts in just a few months. I mean, we're really up against a deadline. So I would strongly recommend that you set up an appointment with our county attorney.
Absolutely.
Let's get these things delineated.
I will call you today, Ms. Rogers.
Yeah, but the idea that there won't be utility taxes, I think you just have to, again, I'm neutral on this. If the people out there want it, go get it. I mean, you can have Perdido Key Drive, you can have Bower Road, that makes my job easier. Are you guys gonna take the roads?
Again, that's not for me to decide. That would be,
Personally, I think it is. I mean,
You're running the whole deal.
You're asking them to set up something up, and we're going to say, we're going to set up this entity, but we're not going to know what we do until we set it up. I mean, like I believe it is your job to establish what you guys are going to be doing and how you're going to be doing it.
it's my job to do the research, to help pull together the feasibility study
Okay, well
as the
then,
town.
then we need to be
before us.
talking with the person who is going to be,
who makes the decision?
who's going to be
Decide.
setting it up.
And then once the town, if it actually does pass, and we're talking hypotheticals here, but if it does pass at the 2024 election, then once the town elects its first leaders, those are the people responsible for entering into the negotiations and figuring out.
But the timeline on that, I mean, it was very short, if I remember correctly. I mean, it was, what?
So November 2024 general election is where we would target having the referendum.
Right.
Our board's not going to put something on the ballot that affects us without knowing what the effect's going to be. I mean, the terms of what the entity, the terms of the relation, the terms of the agreement between the entities is a major part of the establishment of the municipality. It would seem. I mean,
Well, and I'll start working on that today.
Yeah, and Steve, another thing to consider, and I don't want to sound like I'm being negative. Again, I'm neutral, but there's a lot of folks who have a lot of questions and they don't feel like the question's been answered. This board approved 3.6 million. You know, I have an initiative out there to open up and expand additional public beach access. How will the municipality be able to pay for those parks? Because we're not going to just give you the parks, right? And the parks and the facilities out there that we have, I mean, is it your intention to take that over? I mean, I've got 3.6 million. We're looking for more public beach access, but is the city going to find a way to borrow money and pay for our parks and take that over? Again, it makes my job easier. It's a lot of work out there.
And I'd love to make your job easier. As
I'm
proposed
sure you would.
in the feasibility report, it doesn't envision taking over county assets.
So, okay, so you're not going to have the parks either.
All right, we're going to stop right there. I'm 7 minutes into this, man. So, admittedly, Stephen's making a good point, and Mr. Brencher's making a good point. He can't negotiate because the entity doesn't exist, and no one really can negotiate for the entity. His statement was that the interlocal agreement doesn't belong. Earlier, he stated the interlocal agreements don't belong in the charter docs. But yet, the reality is the county's not going to agree to something that they just, they don't know what it is. They're not going to agree to put it on the ballot if they don't have an interlocal agreement worked out. And the reality is that there's no entity that involves that can actually, state what the interlocal agreement can be, because that has to be voted on by the new commissioners. So it's like, the cart before the horse, or this chicken and egg stuff. You can't, the egg can't be hatched if there's no chickens, and so it's flawed. This is the original sin. It's flawed. This is the original sin, and you got to check this guy out behind him sitting. He's picking him up, and he sees it. He can hear it. God bless him. I don't know him. I need to meet him. It just it smells, guys. It smells, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. This smells, and it's just getting stinkier. I'm going to stop recording. This is going to be video number 5 we're about to do. We're almost done here.